Hi everybody. Happy solstice to everybody. The days will be getting longer again. And yes, finally the video where my higher and greater aspect that I usually channel will answer some viewer questions. And I'm soon gonna more or less straight away gonna dive into it. And I want to thank everybody that sent a question. I know my channel is coming out of the depths of being completely stumm, and I'm trying sort of to catch up because I lost about 300 videos, and within this 300 at least 200 were channelings or more from when did I start? 2019, or was it 18? Never mind. Now, well, yeah, thank you to everybody. So I'm gonna get into a Zen state. Before I go, our kitten Whitey is sick. We have to go to the vet. So save our little kitten a little prayer. She's a sturdy old thing, but she's still only just under 6 months old. So yeah, keep your fingers crossed. So I'm gonna quickly pause, bring up the questions, and we can then rock and roll. So our first question, I'll bring them up, is from Anne Diamond, and she wants to know if her daily practice for the human collective works. She's saying out loud every day to in fact decrease the anger in the human collective, and she wants to know that that daily practice is actually impactful or actually affects the collective. So yes, I had to read the question first. Thank you, Anne. And we'll get in there straight away. Huya, the higher and greater aspect of the fractal of Yara, we greet you with so much love. Now, dear one, and also to all other dear ones that do daily practices to impact the human collective. So, yes, dear one, your particular practice to reduce anger and vitriolics in the collective is working. Even if it's just every day you throwing in the stone into the pond, and these concentric circles reverberate through the collective and is sort of seeding like a bigger wave. And if there were more of you doing so, that would create even bigger and stronger concentric circles. So maybe you might have to chime in with this dear soul Anne and practice with her to reduce the amount of division, anger, vitriolics, outbreaks with her, because it's definitely possible. Each and every intention that you throw out, so to speak, has an impact, negative ones and positive ones. we thank you for this question, and rest assured, yes, it does make a difference, even if in the beginning it is very, very infinitesimal, but with over time and repetition, it will sort of be baked into it or stick. Thank you. Okay, let me bring up, oh, where is it? The next question, also from Anne, and I think I'm gonna roll Anne's question and Ellis's question into one, because Anne asks, will some people disappear from our reality through the great divergence and divide in frequency rate? And I think Anne touches upon the great divergence between, let us say, transhumanistic timelines and more organic timelines. And Ellis, pardon me, asks, according to Dolores Cannon, the Earth will pardon me, split in two. And she adds, but I also heard, meaning Ellis, people will be divided by their different opinions and will become harsh. So in a certain way, chiming in with the question of Anne, or an extension that people will become more divided, and then more division is being created. But I think the splitting of two timelines or two Earths, if I guess many of you have heard of Dolores Cannon, some of you might not have, but she put loads of people into hypnosis, and then their higher self spoke through the QHHT session, quantum healing. Oh dear God, yeah, QHHT, that's embarrassing. So I think I'm going to take the two questions together. I hope you do not mind, Ellis, thank you, and I hope you do not mind, Anne, and that the answer will most possibly be a bit longer. Okay, let me pull that down. Dear ones, this particular question has come to the fore increasingly, because in your linearity it has been a while since the soul fractal of Dolores Cannon has spoken about that through her QHHT sessions. And many other channels speak about this great divergence. Now, what we would like to add to this is that there are not only two timelines separating, there are myriads, but in the overall perspective, you could say there are sort of two particular energetically loaded timelines within multiple timelines that will want to embrace what you term your transhumanism, and exchanging in a certain way certain brain functionalities with highly evolved electronic chip in the hope that they will live much longer, the transhumanists, through replacing what is organically in what you term your physical bodies. Your physical bodies in the end are also energetic constructs, beautiful constructs, but certain soul fractals of yours need to experience that, the transhumanistic, or let us say the high-tech timelines, because they need, through their Atlantean experiences, relive a high-tech, let us say, timeline, because they want to integrate something and resolve certain issues and certain things that have been perpetrated, particularly during Atlantis' fall, before the last cataclysm that completely wiped this high civilization out. But there are umpteen different divergences within the in the greater divergence. We do not judge. Either way is your experience that you are, or needing and having chosen to experience. There is no value judgment. It's just a different way of experiencing something for particular soul fractals. Now, of course, the frequency rate of these, let us say, multiple splits of multiple earths, so to speak, or realities, there will be a divergence in frequency rate. And although you're not there yet, because you all are experiencing both realities, the transhumanistic and the more organic. So for the moment, yes, the divergence has actually started in your linear year of 2017, where some of you started feeling this divergence, or the beginning of this multiple divergence. Yes, you could clump together what is going into the high tech, let us say multiple timelines, and what is going into the more organic multiple timelines. And then you have timelines that embrace both for a while, because all is malleable and all depends how you, as portions in humanity, decide, and how your frequency rate will rise. But yes, in certain instances, certain of soul fractals of yours have started experiencing realities where certain people are not present any longer, are not there or in their reality and frequency rate any longer. This, we know, has happened to this fractal, that just some people fell off the wayside. And most people will equate this to that there is no relationship anymore and people went their separate ways. But in a sense, yes, there is a slight divergence in frequency rate, but this will accentuate much more as your technology will um, go in bounds and leaps, and will do that very, very rapidly. And the transhumanistic, let us say, multiple timelines have a different frequency rate and are differently, let us say, polarized in how they want to express their reality, much more through the mental plane and not through the heart space. But again, there is no value judgment. These soul fractals want to experience this. So, within the next 10 to 20 linear of your years, for the moment, in this moment of the now, that's when a larger portion of your, let us say, collectivity will start seeing other people disappear, and they will do so also for the high tech people, that the highly organic people operating from the heart space will no longer be in their construct or construct. But this will not be the prevalent, let us say, situation now. We thank you for this question. Now, Ellis had the other question about certain situations bringing more division. And we have spoken about this in recent transmissions and in transmissions that are no longer available. That for the moment you are experiencing this huge division because you have to experience stark polarity to find your way back to unity consciousness. It's your collective shadow that is coming to the fore, that is working through many, because there is a lot of fear about, and fear creates anger. Like a fearful animal or dog will want to lash out and bark or even bite. If you don't, certainly do not take this example literally, but you are at the height and you are still going to experience more polarity. It's what you collectively have chosen to integrate the shadow, and hence the work with anger is very important. Thank you for your questions. We're going to leave this at that. Okie dokie. That was a bit longer. Now, next question. And I hope I'm saying this name properly. No, there's one more by Ellis, and she asks, when will the world become a fair or fairer place? They're telling me that they have, in a certain sense, answered it in the last question. Okay, sorry, that's sort of the cop out. So, the second last question is by Dangai Para. I hope I say this right and don't butcher it. That's a very interesting one, actually. And they say there is a new Spielberg film coming out on the 6th of the 12th, 2026, in a year's time. So, with the tagline, "All will be disclosed." And he or she asks, is there any hidden meaning to this movie? Do you see anything to do with aliens, UFOs, UAPs happening in 2026 or 2027? And then the appendix to this is there are lots of conspiracy theories to do with Project Bluebeam and also lots of channelers. Oh, go on. Lots of channelers mentioning real aliens. It is so confusing. Okie, oops. Okie. So the Spielberg movie being like a pre, yeah, not a precursor. Okay, right. Dear one, this is such a really interesting question because we believe that many of you believe that what you term Hollywood or TV series are like precursors, or they are telling you in advance what might be happening. For example, movies like Contagion or Outbreak were prior to what you term your world pandemic. So, in a certain way, preparing you or telling you what might happen. It is not that the script writers, because it is the script writers that are, as such, writing the movies, that they are psychic, but we believe that also big authors or co-authors of films like Steven Spielberg and others, James Cameron, somehow can, and these screenwriters tap into a certain zeitgeist or the probability field. And it's a sort of intuition. We do not believe that what you term the deep state is feeding those individuals these ideas, but it is tapping into what we term the great akasha or the probability field. And by giving it a lot of energy, and by spectators or moviegoers or television watchers will also give a lot of energy to a particular movie like E.T. or Alien, and the Aliens different movies. There are so many, all like with Contagion and Outbreak, and there are others. Though there may be some timelines of a zombie apocalypse, but it's highly improbable, but there might be the probability for that. But what we're saying is that the setting of the premiere of this other Spielberg movie for the end of your linear year 2026 is certainly no coincidence. We, in this instance, sense that Spielberg is also sensing the mood and the questions, plural, about this closure may be happening as certain classified material has been released. But we feel that Steven Spielberg is rather riding that wave and not the wave that at the end of 2026 and the beginning of 2027 a disclosure or greater disclosure might happen. We say the time is not right yet, though we say an increasing amount of people will see UAPs, and some of these UAPs are homemade, so to speak, flying, unidentified flying objects that were harvested from what you term alien technology. But there are also other sightings, and particular when there is a possibility of a nuclear strike, you will see alien craft more often, but they are very covert. They were highly visible in your late linear years of what you term the 1980s and beginning of your linear years 1990, because there was a much greater nuclear threat with nuclear tests in the oceans, in deserts, present, just to watch over that your humanity will not roll themselves up again, because that is not the plan. So any greater disclosure, dear one, we say will not happen then, due to the fear that it could spark and mass hysteria. You are not yet ready, all of you in your collective, to witness a full disclosure. This might start to become a possibility from the linear year 2032, but it's way more likely, still in the probability field, towards your years 2044 upwards, or 2050, where there would be actual exchange with what you term ETs or extra dimensionals, because by then as well your telepathic capacities will be way more developed. Thank you for this question, dear one. Oh, 29 minutes. Well, they say what they want to say. I'm going to do a brief break. I do need to drink some water, and I'm completely lightheaded because I'm sort of not anchored now. So just give me a tick and I drink some herbal tea. Well, that's better. Now the last question, because we are at 30 minutes, was asked by my hubby, Dave. I will have to translate it for him afterwards because he's French and his English is non-existent. But he wants to know if my higher and greater aspect can elucidate on three-eye atlas. For those that do not know, three-eye atlas, the third interstellar object that was seen through the Atlas lens or telescope, and it stands, it's an acronym, Atlas, and I'm crap, I can't remember, but let's say three-eye atlas is an interstellar, a third interstellar object. In 2017 there was Oumuamua that raised as well a lot of interest, but not as much as a three-eye atlas that whizzed by us very close, really very close, on the 19th of December, 2 days ago, and is headed towards Jupiter now. There are some anomalies around it noticed by astronomers and astrophysicists, and many are saying that NASA has kept very quiet about three-eye atlas. Some people just think it's a rock hurtling through space. Others think it's an alien probe. I personally don't. I have a feeling what it might be, but there are no aliens on it. But we'd rather ask. There was a Borisov as well, which was, I think, after or before Oumuamua. Never mind. We're going to see what my higher and greater aspect have to say, what they, inverted commas, want to say, because sometimes they don't want to fully say everything, because to leave the choice to the collective as well. Okie dokie, so now there are so many discussions about this third interstellar object, and has sparked wide range reactions and, yes, discussions about what it might be and what it is made of. And we understand through the fractal what the fractal's partner really is asking, if it is an alien probe or something that is not organic matter hurtling through space. Now, what we want to say through what you term three-eye atlas, it is and it isn't a rock hurtling through space. It is, its point of origin comes from a highly evolved, and in your terms, ancient civilization, many light years away from your Milky Way and your planetary system, your solar system. This particular object is charged with information. It has been, so to speak, sent out with the intention to gather energetically information. Hence, it hurtled by your Earth construct in a relatively close way and is now headed towards your very big planet or planetary consciousness, Jupiter. There is a reason to this that we do not disclose. But let us say there are civilizations that are on different frequency rates and photonic spin in or around as well your planetary consciousness, Jupiter, with its satellite moons. It is like a sponge on a specific trajectory. It is not randomly hurtling through space. It is like a sponge because the intention has been set by this population or civilization, this ancient and very, very highly evolved, what you might call extra-dimensional beings or an extra-dimensional collective of beings, as they do operate as one organism. There is no more division between the self and other, but it is collecting energetic frequency and information. So it is as such a construct, not machine made, but it is imbued with intention. So in a certain way it is a rock, but it is a rock that has intention, so to speak. We hope that this question has been answered, and we thank you so much for your very interesting questions. We do love questions. We're going to end this as creation is love and love is creation. We love you so much. Goodbye. We love you. Okie dokie. That was that. 37 minutes. The one thing I want to say is I do not listen to other channeled information, not Bashar, not any other person. The last channeled information I listened is that a dear friend of mine sent me a little video clip of a lovely, I think, Dutch lady that channels trees, because I find this so lovely. But otherwise I watch mundane stuff, sometimes funny stuff, animals, but not really other channelers or channeled info, because I know I'm very susceptible of being influenced. So I hope that answered your questions. Pardon me. I'm wishing you all a very, very happy Christmas. Stay in peace, stay in love if you can. Maybe my high and greater aspect will want to address you before Christmas or after. I love you, and hopefully that was interesting, because I can't remember a thing now. Love you all. Hang on, where is my doodah?